I'm Maynard with First and Foremost, and I'm going to show you step by step how to build this shed. So let's get started and make it happen, Captain. I want you and Wheezy to set me those two windows. I'm going to go ahead and install the 1x6 fascia. And then what I'll get to do is I want you to take those braces off on the inside. I'm going to try to build a good shelf. So you may have noticed that our studs are turned sideways on this gable end versus the other way, like the wall framing. We did that because our backer here is 1.5 inches from the edge, gives me something solid to nail to. But more beneficial still is having 3.5 inches to nail that staple to. Is really hard to miss, and it makes sure that you get, sure contact and connection between the plywood and the wall stud itself. Especially if it's one of your first times building, it's nice to have that really easy and wide versus only 1.5 inches. Much easier to complete. Now, whenever I'm framing a gable that does not have a chicken ladder or an overhang on the side, I recommend that you always pad the fascia out above about 3/4 inch to allow the siding to come up and tight to this pad out to where the 1x6 will be able to cover that, and you will not need any J-channels or a type of metal flashing or caulking to protect you from the rain elements. And this way here, the water will flow right onto the siding and down and off the wall exactly as it was designed to do. All right, so make sure I'm flush with the end of the fascia on the outside. There may be a little gap in between that fascia and the other one, but just make sure your cut is flush with the outside. So now you can see exactly what I was talking about. So as your vinyl siding or hardy board or T111, whatever side you decide, will now go up behind here. And when you either wrap or paint this fascia, the siding is actually stopped way up here, and the water will come down, roll down, and go this way, and never be relying on caulking to keep your building waterproof. Shelving is a great additive to any shed. It creates a lot of room for storage and are very easy to install. There's a lot of different styles, but we're going to do a very simple style for sake of material and time. And we'll show you how I planned on doing my shelves. Let's go 45.5 inches from the floor. That way we can see the upper side of the mark instead of looking under the board, you know what I mean? Also mark it over one stud on the side so we know where to install our blocks. And maybe the third stud as well. Yep. There you go. I like it. Well, it's a little harder to see that orange on the inside, but it's still good. All right, so you got your marks right here. So what we'll do is if you want to just put a block right here, that same level, Chip, and then down, that way it'll be at the exact same height as our shelf, and you can just nail it in there, and then we're so strong. (15'4". Let's just do 15'4". We'll go with 15'4", 21-inch blocks. That'll give us a 2-foot shelf. And I think that'll be good to add some stuff on there and be able to hold skill saws or tools or whatever, or, you know, a lot of my parts for the ATVs. Set me close to your line. We'll work it down. You good right there, Poop? We are really supported against the back wall and the side walls, but we're going to need a little extra support here in the middle. Now typically I would probably put some direct supports right here, maybe put another line of shelves, but being that we are parking the ATVs in here, we're going to put an angle support back to the exterior wall, cut on a 45-degree angle, plus or minus a few degrees. 34.25. Roll that. I like it. Isn't that a cool way to build shelves? Easy peasy, pumpkin easy, buddy. One little additive that we did here on our shelf that works really well in unfinished inside areas is to add a little rip of something, whatever you have left over, just to this back side, so if you do stack things on top of here, they don't fall down and fall behind and onto the floor. Just a little extra something that tends to work really well. Now with the ramp, I've been a little indecisive on how exactly I want to build it, especially with this big difference in the terrain. We want to be able to pull up very easy with the lawnmower or ATVs. So I think I excavate a little bit on this side and we'll throw it over there to help build that up. That way I can kind of have a smooth transition to go up the ramp. TJ, can I borrow your hand for a minute, buddy? I'm gonna come right here in the middle, because this is like the average height between the high side and the low side. Hold me right there. Wheezy, come here, buddy. Hold me right there, just like that. Okay, we're about 14 degrees, which is a really good angle and shallow pitch for our ramp. Being that we're gonna be driving ATVs and lawnmowers inside, we don't wanna get too steep and cause them to bump on the threshold that's gonna be here from the door. One thing that's very important about the ramp install is the height. You want to make sure that the ramp is installed about equivalent to where the threshold is going to be. So we're going to raise the ramp up about a ½ an inch above our plywood height so that it works out just flush with the threshold of the door. So on the ramp, I decided to lower the spacing on the joists themselves. Typically we frame with 16 or 24 inches on center, but being that we had planned on having a lot of access and weight coming over this ramp, I decided to lower the spacing down to about 12 inches in between each joist. And that'll just give us that little bit of extra strength that we need to withstand for a very long time. Nice and straight. All right, now let's see if it actually works. Okay, it's better to start from one side and work yourself all the way to the other side, just to make sure that everything's in line and falling about at the same place. It's this joist right here. Just lift up on this joist while I press down. Now we'll work these joists across until they're all flush at the top. Now, one thing you guys need to remember is when you switch from nailing white wood to green pressure treated lumber, make sure you use the galvanized nails, because if you use regular nails in the pressure treated lumber with the chemicals that are in there, they will rust very, very quickly and change the color of your lumber, and then eventually rust to the point where they're not holding anything at all. Man, the shed is really starting to take shape. All we have left is roof, siding, and front door. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Oh yeah, that works really good. That was smooth sailing, baby.